all of you in attendance. My name is Councillor Ian Horner and I'm Chair of the Local Area Committee. Before I ask other councillors to introduce themselves, I'll hand over to Democratic Services to read out the housekeeping arrangements.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you, Chair. Before we start, there's just a few housekeeping arrangements to mention. Please can I request everyone to switch electronic devices to silent mode so as not to disturb the conduct of the meeting. There is no fire test planned for today. If there is an emergency evacuation, please take instruction from the council staff present. The assembly point is just out that door in the car park, just there. The toilet facilities are through either that door on the left or through the cafe on the right. The meeting today is open to the public and will be streamed live and for subsequent broadcast via the council's website. You should be aware that the council is a data controller under the Data Protection Act. Data collected during this webcast will be retained in accordance with the council's published policy. By entering the meeting room, you are consenting to be filmed and to the possible use of those images and sound recordings for webcasting. Any member of the public due to speak at the meeting who does not wish to be filmed should say so at the start of their speech. The Chair will suspend permission to film their contribution. The webcast will only record their audio contribution. Members of the public are permitted to take photographs and to film audio record the business of the meeting in accordance with the protocol for webcasting, filming and recording. But we have had a request from a member of the public not to record, so that at the Chair's discretion that's going to be suspended for this meeting. Thank you, Chair. Thank you.
Can I start by asking members and officers around the table to introduce themselves, starting on my left.
Thank you, Chair. Councillor Tony Downing, Councillor from Osborough Ward.
Evening, everyone. Councillor Curtis Crossbourne, and I'm a councillor for Bayton Ward.
Evening, everyone. I'm Glynis Chapman, and I'm councillor from Osborough Ward.
Sam also Democratic Services.
Carm Lewley, Head of Community Services.
Councillor Karen McGowan, Burley Ward.
Councillor Alison Norris, Woodhouse Ward.
Fun if it goes on like this, aren't we? We'll be whistling for hours. Can I ask Sam for any apologies from councillors?
Yeah, I've received apologies from Councillor Gail Smith, Councillor Mick Rooney, Councillor Matt Dwyer, Councillor Denise Fox and Councillor Anne Woolhouse.
And Councillor Willis Marshall.
And Councillor Willis Marshall is also present.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah, out of date name badge. Just call me whatever you want to be honest. As long as it's not too rude.
As far as I'm aware, there are no items that require the exclusion of press and public. And so can I move on to ask members if they want to declare an interest in the items on the business of the agenda? No? In which case, without further ado, we'll move on to minutes of the previous meeting, as every councillor got sight of them. Except me.
Just what initially page.
Yeah. Do you have any of councillors' objections to any of the minutes? Okay. Take the first page. No? Second page. Third page. Fourth page. Fifth page. Sixth page. Seventh page. Eighth page. Ninth page. 10th page. And 11th page. Okay. So are there any, are all councillors present happy for me to sign the minutes?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll sign the minutes. Any matters arising from the minutes? No. Okay, so we'll move on to item 6. Perhaps I just say for everybody's benefit, in case you haven't seen the agenda, we're going to have some presentations now from early years youth services and the apprenticeship team. Then we'll have a breakout session and we'll move the chairs around a bit and the councillors will come out and be part of the audience. And then we'll have an opportunity for people to have a look around the stalls, and we'll have a report back from the breakout sessions, and then we have formal business of the budget report and public questions and petitions to finish with. Okay.
Before we go into presentation, I'm just going to quickly get the stores to give us 2 minutes hello and who they are, so we know who's in the room. So where's the corner sitting? Hi, can I stand up and say who you are? Thanks. Just a couple of minutes, like 1 minute.
Can we pass the microphone to him, otherwise it's just going to be caught on the
Yeah.
broadcast?
Hello. Oh, wow. Hello everyone, my name is Brad and this is my colleague Lucy. We are here from The Corner, part of Change Grow Live. We are Sheffield's Young Persons Drug and Alcohol Service. We support young people from the ages of 10 to 18 around their substance use, be that drugs or alcohol. We work from a harm reduction perspective. We are not here to tell young people not to use drugs, because research shows and we know from our own work that just telling kids just say no does not work. What we do is we empower young people through education and working with them on one-to-one and group basis to make informed choices around substance use. If they so choose to use substances, we empower them to do that as safely as possible. It's called harm reduction. You will see it in loads of other walks of life. If you think of healthy relationships as taught in school, that's taught from a harm reduction perspective. If you think about using the roads, owning animals, it's all about harm reduction. We help children and young people make changes they want to change. We empower them to do that, and we work with every member of the community to make that happen. Cheers.
We've got Bayton Scouts as well.
My name's Paul Howe. I'm the Group Scout Leader of the first Bayton 49 Sheffield Scout Group. In our particular group, we run kids from the age of 6 to 18. And it's just teaching them basic skills of life, in effect, and making sure they're going down the right track as much as possible. Thank you.
We've got Woodhouse Library.
That red button.
My name's Darren. Yeah, you can hear me now. Yeah. So I'm from Woodhouse Community Urban Library, which is in the middle of Woodhouse, and we do a range of activities and services for children, young people and young families. So we work in partnership with colleagues from the Family Hub and provide services such as baby massage class. We've got information advice supporting breastfeeding. We do a pram walk for young mums just to get them out of the house and provide a safe route around village. We've got a really good children's library, and we've got one of the highest numbers of young people registered as library users in the city. We do things like baby reading time. We've got 2 playgroups, and then the buildings used by organisations such as Computer Explorers to do a range of activities for young people around IT and building their confidence and skills. Another part of his work, and I'll just plug an event that we've got in this half term, so just to support families around the Halloween period, we do an affordable pumpkin patch. So in the next couple of weeks we'll be promoting that. It's an affordable way for people to celebrate and take part in an experience that sometimes can be quite expensive if you go to a commercial venue. So that's sort of things that we're doing at the moment. Yeah.
Yeah, we've gone off each other. We're community development workers, so our particular role is to support organisations in order to deliver whatever it is that they would like to do to support their community. So that could be absolutely anybody from a couple of people who've got a nice idea to bigger organisations. So that is helping to support people to get the volunteer support that they need to make something happen. To apply for grants that will allow them the funding in order to make things work, and that we do that across any group that's supporting anybody of any age range. So whether they're wanting to run a baby group, a young people's service, or through to lunch clubs and things like that. So that's what we do, and we're available for anybody to get in touch with us for that kind of work. And we've got Louise from Family Hub.
Hi, I'm Louise Lumley. I'm the Family Hub Coordinator at Shortbrook Family Hub, and I'm with my colleague Donna. Introduce yourself. Say what you do.
My name's Donna. I'm a community support worker within Sheffield Family Hub, supporting families with children 0 to 19 and 25, and I cover all of the east side of Sheffield.
And we've got Element Society. You're sat really close to us.
Hi, my name's Amy. I'm here representing Element Society. We are based in the centre of town, but we're currently running a project called Voltage, which is giving energy-saving advice to people aged 18 to 24, especially those that are kind of living on their own already or are looking towards kind of having to live on their own, such as care leavers. We also work with young people younger than that. We have a healthy activities programme, an alternative provision and a youth club, and we try and listen to our young people's voices and see what else they want to be doing. Thank you.
And we've got Aaron from Youth Services.
Hello everyone, my name is Aaron Daniels and I'm a youth worker for the Youth Services, which I'll be explaining about very shortly.
And we've got Emma and Sarah from Youth Voice and Influence.
Hi everyone, I'm Emma Hinchliffe and I'm a Youth Voice and Influence worker within Community Youth Services.
Hi everyone, I'm Sarah Farncombe and I'm a Youth Voice and Influence worker as well.
And we'll be telling you a bit more about what we do shortly.
And we also have Katie Hammond from the police as well.
I'll press it. I know it's on. I was thinking I was going to mess up then. I'm Katie Hammond, I'm South East Neighbourhoods Inspector. So I'm the inspector of the neighbourhoods team as it is. So I cover all South East from right up here all the way down to Manor is all my area. I have 3 different teams, but the team that covers up here, Jen's part of that team. So we've come in today to talk to you about some of the stuff that we do with kids. And we've set up a stall. We do go into schools and do some engagement with them, talk about different things. We've got some presentations that we give in schools. We set up stalls where children can obviously come and speak to us. We're obviously out and about in the street doing patrols, talking to them. I don't want you to think, obviously, we deal with people who's committing crimes, but also we do a lot of engagement with kids because we don't want them not to engage with us. Obviously, we're here for them if they're missing, that kind of thing. So we do try and build up that, and that's our role on neighbourhoods, to be that front, to actually get out and talk to people and make sure that we portray police as being good as well as bad. So that's good. Thank you.
So yes, please do in the break, go and talk to all the stores. We've got loads here, and I will now pass over to Louise for your presentation. Do you want to stand at the front?
Yeah, you come down the front.
Can you see now? Yeah, Family Hubs. No, Family Hubs. Next slide, please. So we are from Sheffield Family Hubs, where we provide warm, welcoming spaces. We've got 7 family hubs across the city, and we offer and deliver activities and signposting for predominantly children 0 to 5, but also now up to 0 to 19 and 25 with a SEND need. Next slide, please. So the aims of the family hubs are to be more accessible in the community, to support people feel better connected with our network members, like Darren, he's one of our network members, to provide different services, and be more relationship centred. Next slide, please. Oh no, that's not even the presentation. So we've got seven family hubs across the city, and we've also got some outreach venues as well. So the closest family hub here is Shortbrook Family Hub, and the outreach centre is at Stradbrook Community Centre, but we do also do other services and link with other partners like Darren in Woodhouse. Next slide, please. So this is just the map of where the family hubs are within the city. Next slide, please. And that's just the addresses if anybody needs to know where they are. Next slide, please. So what do we offer? We offer infant feeding advice. Our infant feeding and peer support workers contact mums antenatally on discharge from hospital and at a couple of points during the coming weeks. They'll then offer them baby massage sessions and signpost them into baby groups. We've also got some free sensory rooms that are available to book. The closest one here is Darnell, unfortunately, but we are working on how we can get something within this locality. We also do preparation for birth and beyond classes, which is a class for antenatal mums, dads and carers. We also do breastfeeding groups, walk and talk, weaning advice sessions, toilet training advice sessions, and we also have one-to-one prevention workers that work with families one-to-one in the home or within the community. Next slide, please. We also offer toddler groups and workshops. We've got our home learning environment team that are working on children with poor language development, so that's a session of home visits and then workshops within the hub. We've also got Dump the Dummy and toilet training, we support with holiday activities or run holiday activities, coffee mornings and play, chat and learn workshops. We also partner and host other services like our health visiting team colleagues where we have play and weigh sessions. We also host all the midwifery services, antenatally and postnatally. We can also offer information and help people get the Healthy Start vouchers, which is free milk and vegetables if you're on a low income. We also host the Start Well programme, which is around healthy eating, bedtime routines, behaviour. We also host parenting programmes from our partners in the Sheffield Parent Hub. We can also support with getting codes for funded early learning. So from 9 months now, parents can get so many hours free per week towards childcare costs. We also support with cost of living support, so it might be a baby basics referral or a referral to a household support fund. We also partner with our colleagues in health around hosting sleep clinics. We have contraception services. We've just had a sexual health van in the locality. And we also partner with our colleagues in Fizz. And all our services you will find on the Sheffield directory, which is the links on there. We also host and partner with other people and services like Shelter, DWP, Special Educational Needs Services, Stop Smoking, Domestic Abuse, the Alcohol and Substance Misuse Service, the Perinatal Mental Health Team with the pairs, like peer support, supporting mums postnatally and antenatally who may be suffering from depression, mental health services. We can have consultations to support people with mental health. We also host Steel City Dads groups. That's for dads with children 0 to 2, so they can come and spend some time and get activity ideas within the hubs. These often take place on a Saturday, which is quite good for working people. We also partner with the Speech and Language Service with the Talking Toddlers programme, and we also host some family learning activities as well. That's just a picture of some of the sensory rooms, and like I said, they're all free. Just either send us an email to Sheffield Family Hubs, or you can ring. There's one at Early Days, Darnell, Burngreave and Stocksbridge. We also offer volunteer opportunities. Quite a high proportion of our workforce came from volunteers, so that might be infant feeding peer support workers, prevention workers and workers within the doula service. So we're always open to people coming to volunteer with us. We have a Community Connector programme where people come and they work alongside us and they help to connect people within the community to our services. We've also got the EPEC programme, the Empowering Parents and Empowering Communities, or parents that have trained to deliver a parenting programme, which is always really good when families are going through tough times, and at least they can say, I've been through this, I know what you're going through. We've got the doula service who support mums who may have no support during birth and after birth. We've got the infant feeding peer support volunteers who work alongside our infant feeding workers within groups, and we've also got volunteers who volunteer within the Family Hub network with partners. So our parent carer panel, so we've been collecting voices and experiences and kind of the views of parents with children 0 to 2 and how they found their experience of accessing services across their time with their 0 to 2 year old. So that when we get that information back, it helps us to shape services. So if people have a particularly bad experience with something, we can try and help to make it better for the future. We also take general feedback through evaluation that we regularly do every term. We've also got feedback boxes in family hubs where you get a little token, a bit like in Tesco. So there's a question and you can answer that question by putting the token in. And then we also have parents who represent at our governance meetings that we hold around community action plans, which us as coordinators develop. We also welcome any professional feedback, so if you have been to any hub and you've had a positive or negative experience, you know, we're happy to listen to that and, you know, kind of work and always improve our services. This is where you'll find all the up-to-date information of anything that's happening in the hubs and also around in the community. If anybody can add to the directory, so if anybody here runs a toddler group or knows of somebody who does, please get them to add their information onto the directory, because this is the best and most up-to-date information. There are some training sessions as well around navigating it. It can sometimes be a little bit tricky. And it can also be turned into different languages as well. So if you want to particularly know about a toddler group in a specific area, you can narrow that down, change it into a booklet and into a specific language as well. One of our main targets is family hub registrations. Within each locality we have a target of registrations. So we will collect registrations when we see new families who we've not seen for a while, just to make sure that we've got up-to-date information. You'll get a welcome email sent once you've completed this, and then we'll keep you up to date with activities and events happening within the locality. The benefits of the registration are, like I just said, we can keep you updated. We know that what services are available are accessible and help you receive practical support. When a family registers, we'll send you an email and keep you up to date with information. So we also take referrals for one-to-one support, like I said earlier. That needs to come from a professional, or you can self-refer yourself. So if anybody does want any extra support and you've got a 0 to 5 year old, you can contact us or pop into one hub and we can help you complete the relevant paperwork and get support to you. We also work multi-agency with FAZE, and there's a little video there if you want to watch it about the Early Help Assessment Framework, what training we also offer with the Early Help Partnership, and the safeguarding information's there. Here's the Early Help Partnership training. So I know, Darren, you've accessed this, haven't you? And partners within the locality can also access it. Some of it's like a lunch and learn, or some of it's a day's training. So the Family Hub network, we aim to strengthen connections between earliest providers, partners and families. We have just developed a toy library. So if anybody wants to become a Family Hub network member, you can loan some toys from our toy library. If anybody wants any more information, come and speak to us and we can get you signed up to be a Family Hub network member. So you'll be able to borrow those, but you'll also have access to all our training, development and regular communications with us. And there's just a QR code if anyone wants any more information, and that's where you can find us on Facebook, Instagram, and there's the directory link there. Any questions?
Yes, I've got a question. Where do you get your funding from?
We get it from the DFE and the DHSC, and we get a small amount from the council as well. Okay.
And now we have Aaron from Youth Services. There you are.
Thank you. I don't have to hold anything. Lighters and press a button.
Oh, I love that.
Hello. So you moving the slides. Lovely, thank you. Good evening, everybody. Can you hear me okay? Lovely. So welcome to Universal Youth Services, which is a specific part of Community Youth Services, which my colleagues will touch on in a little bit. But essentially, we are youth workers, not a targeted services. We're all young people aged from 11 going up to adulthood, so 18. So who we are, we're a team of youth workers. The main things that we deliver, that you'll know us more for, are youth clubs and detached work. So in our youth clubs, we offer everything is free. It's for all young people. Like I said, we're not targeted. It's voluntary, so no young people work with us unless they want to, they choose to. They can, there's no requirement, you don't need to sign up, you don't need to call ahead, young people can just drop in and out as they see fit. The only requirements to attending a youth club is that you follow the rules, respectful to staff, the building and other young people. What we support with is young people's transition from childhood to adulthood, and that can take various forms. It can be offering a platform to just have fun, socialise, meet peers, and it can also be to offer support, whether that's through us supporting ourselves or whether we're bringing specialist services, signposts to other services or referring if there's a bit more of a targeted issue. Yeah, thanks. During the holidays, we're open all the time, so 6-week holidays, half term, we're always open, because this is obviously a time where young people can often lose some routine, so we like to offer that sense of routine. Everything we do is decided through consultation with young people, the trips and activities. It's either done on a reward base, so young people working towards something, or it's got educational value. So there's sometimes a misconception that young people are being taken and rewarded for bad behaviour. That's absolutely not what we do, ever. If a young person's coming on an activity, it's because they've earned it, or because it's going to have some value. Now, the educational value it can have, it might not be that obvious. It might be just through meeting other peers, gaining confidence, social skills, learning to take a bus, use public transport, things which aren't that obvious, what you might not necessarily learn from school, but at a youth club we offer that opportunity. Yep. And again, everything is free, all the trips are free, because we don't want finances to be a barrier for any young people. So, as a service, we're split into the 7 LAC areas. So obviously, I work in the South East. If anyone does want to know any further information about places in the other side of the city, please let me know and I can give you the appropriate contact. For any questions or queries regarding the South East specifically, please come to me. So our vision is to offer safe, creative and ambitious community youth services where all residents can thrive. And we want to create safe spaces for young people to access support where needed. In a nutshell, to narrow it down, we want young people to have fun, a safe space to have fun. That's our primary goal. Then what comes with that is support. And the support can, again, take various kind of methods. It can be young people saying that they want a specific kind of support, say, for example, careers. So we'll bring a careers team in to support with that. Or it may be youth workers identifying particular issues, whether that be safeguarding or, various forms of issues. We can then bring in other services that are more specialist for that kind of support. Partnership working, obviously, as I've just described, We can't do it on our own. We're not necessarily specialists. So we do try to do as much partnership work as possible. That includes services like The Corner, who do come to youth clubs across the city. Again, the services that we do use, there's two ways that we come through that. It's either via youth workers observing these young people could do support around a particular issue, or young people asking for a certain type of support, or not even support, just fun again. Because with the fun, they will get informal education for sure, through the networking, learning things together. And events, we try to put on events, multiple throughout the year. Usually tends to be a theme around a particular event, such as Black History Month or International Youth Day. We'll link with that theme to try and educate young people through, again, fun and positive activities, rather than feeling like they're in school and being forced to learn. It's that informal, not necessarily realising you're learning, but you are. So in the youth club, various youth clubs in the South East, we often do foods from all around the world. So young people trying foods that they might not ordinarily try, and then through that we learn about that country that we might have eaten foods from. So again, through fun is our emphasis. And with the International Youth Day, that's a sort of staple what we do every year. We always do a big event, everything's free, all different activities and all different services what young people can benefit from. As Louise was saying, we're also on the Sheffield Directory, so you can go on that to find out about any specific youth club, any details, addresses, but you can also just come to me and I'll give you all the info. So I've got all the flyers for any youth club you might need. And then South East specific, so we've got youth provision in every ward in the South East. That covers Westfield, Bayton Youth Club, Handsworth, Scourtons, Woodhouse, and then we also do one detached session a week. So I don't think I explained what detached were. So detached is where we go into communities and we try and engage with young people where they're at. So it's trying to sort of consult with them, engage with them around what they want to get into, any barriers they might face, any issues that they may be causing or perceive to be causing, and we try and then essentially come up with a plan of how best to respond to that. So it might be coming up with activities, it might be cycling them to a youth club or alternative activities, and that's just one session that we've got for the entire of the South East. So it's spread quite thin. But yeah, so if you see it's out and about, we'll have our uniforms on, and we're talking to young people. We're doing it with the purpose of us being youth. We're youth workers, we're not weirdos talking to young people. If you want, for more information, by the way, I've just reeled them off. I don't expect you to have taken any of that in. Please come to me, so I've got flyers for all the South East youth clubs, and I can give you a bit more sort of context to the individual clubs, because I know some parents can have hesitation about sending their young person to a particular area, and I can sort of have a chat about, firstly, if we can overcome that, if we can arrange maybe a youth worker meeting them, or whether I can give you a sense of what the dynamic's currently like, whether the young people there are quite uninviting and maybe challenging, or whether actually they're a lovely, welcoming group. So, yeah, please do come and ask me. Yeah, I've just said all that. Thank you.
Yes, please. Can you see from here, Holly?
Hello everyone, it's lovely to see you here this evening. So I'm Emma Hinchliffe, I'm a youth voice and influence worker from Community Youth Services. Thought we'd give you a bit of an overview of Community Youth Services. So Aaron's talked about the work that they do in Universal Youth Services, but we're actually 5 services under one umbrella. So we provide targeted service for young people that might be at risk of engaging in lots of different vulnerabilities like crime, it might be antisocial behaviour, it might be young people that aren't attending school, things like that, and they provide one-to-one or group work support for young people around those areas. We've got an information, advice and guidance service, so for young people not in education, employment or training, or young people with special educational needs, we'll support young people to engage wherever they're at, whatever they want to engage in, and support them in terms of their journey towards employment, education or training, however that may look for them. And then we're from the Youth Voice and Influence Service, so we work with young people around giving them a voice on decision makers with decisions within the city. And then our last service area is our performance and quality assurance and our management side of it that support us with all them areas. So in terms of a Youth Voice and Influence Service, next slide please. What is Youth Voice and Influence? So a lot of people will know Youth Voice and Influence is about listening to young people. It's not just about listening to young people though, it's valuing what young people are telling you and actually doing something about it, but not just doing something about it, actually feeding back to young people what's happened as a result of what they've said, or working with those young people to create those changes that they want to see. And that's what we do as a service. We also have various structured groups and activities to enable young people to do that over long term if they want to engage in groups and activities to do that. We do this in various ways. So some of the things that we work on will come from decision makers saying we really want to get young people's opinions on this. So it might be, for example, the housing allocation strategy or something like that. And we will work with those decision makers to look at what's the best way to engage young people. Let's not just sit a survey in front of them and say you need to complete this. Let's do it in a creative way. Let's use collages and graffiti walls and things like that to get their views in a meaningful way and feed that directly back. We also support young people when young people identify an issue themselves within their community or within the city. We will support them to look at, right, okay, that's your issue. What is it you want to see change? What is it you want to do about that? And let's look at how we can help you to do that. And so we work with their issues as well as working with the issues from decision makers. We have various different ways we do this, so we're going to talk to you about some of the things that our structured groups have achieved over the last year. We also go into like youth clubs and schools and partner organisations to gather young people's views on different topics and things as well and feed those into the decision making within the council. So people may be aware of the Youth Cabinet and UK Youth Parliament. So UK Youth Parliament is a national structure. It's based on the amount of young people that you have in your city. They estimate we've got around 53,000 young people aged 11 to 18 in Sheffield. So we get 3 members of UK Youth Parliament, which is not a lot to represent 53,000 young people, is it? But that's what the allocation is. So that those young people get to go to the House of Commons. They will debate issues that have come through from their peers, and then they will decide as a national sit-in what are the key things that we need to take forward over this next year. And what they did initially is they looked at, it's an elected role, so they looked at every point that those young people were elected in and created a manifesto for a 2-year term of this is what young people across the UK want to see differently, and that's being used to influence government directly. The way that they get input from other young people is they do a biannual survey called Make Your Mark across the schools. So our Youth Cabinet is our citywide group for young people. Like we've got elected councillors here, we've got elected youth councillors as well for young people. And they decide what are the issues we want to work on. So over this last year, the issues that they've identified is education. They've picked up lots of issues around how education could be done differently, how they feel that teachers not necessarily have enough information to be able to support students accordingly. And so they're working on a series of podcasts around that, the information that they think's missing, aimed at teachers but also aimed at their peers as well. And they've identified crime and safety as an issue as well, and so they want to look at creative ways of doing that. So at the minute they've thought about a film or a game or things like that, so we're just finalising the work around that. But over the past they've done lots of different work. So they've worked with South Yorkshire Police on an educational video around school lockdowns, and they've done several different films and pieces. Then we've got a group specifically for young people with special educational needs and disabilities. These young people actually named the group Sending Voices, and they meet fortnightly and they come together to be a voice for young people with special educational needs. They've done lots of different things. They won a youth award for around the connections that they have made to help their work, and they helped Sendias youth-proof their website. They're still ongoing because they're having regular input with that piece of work as well. More recently, the biggest project that they've just worked on is 5 animation films aimed at teachers around the little things that teachers can do to adapt their practice to support young people with special educational needs and disabilities better. And those films, they have also created small workshops for each one of those animation pieces so that teachers can be trained on those different topics as well. And they're working on strategic priorities around belonging and the SEND manifesto to make sure young people with special educational needs actually have a voice in those areas. And then we have an independent advisory group to South Yorkshire Police for young people specifically. This group meets 6 times a year, and it's about giving young people aged 13 to 25 a voice with the police. So young people can bring issues to that group, but the police can also say, we're not quite getting this right from a young people's perspective, what do we need to do with that? So we actually piloted with that group the first stop and search scrutiny panel of 14 to 18-year-olds. So those young people got to scrutinise the actual stop and search footage and the way that the police record searches of other 14 to 18-year-olds and say, actually, you didn't do this, or if you did this, you'd have got a better outcome, or you need to think about this. And that information was then used to train the police, and they do a lot of test purchasing on things like vapes, cigarettes, knives, fireworks, depending on what time of year it is. And then they've worked on, so the biggest topic that they worked on was violence against women and girls. And they did a big film around that topic as well. And that went out, it's used for training taxi drivers, it's used across the board in encouraging other people to think about that topic and how they can support other young people.
Hi everyone, I'm Sarah. So this has been my kind of baby for the past 18 months. We do a lot of social action projects, and day one was an exhibition that we did. You might have seen it at Crystal Peaks, hopefully, over the summer period. So we try to focus on issues that matter to young people and make sure that they can come up with creative solutions to tell decision makers kind of what they want to see, what change they want to see in society and in Sheffield. We've also been working with blue influencers to encourage more young people to get out into blue spaces. So over summer we went and visited Rother Valley, which they absolutely loved, and they're coming up with like activity packs to make sure everyone in Sheffield can go and enjoy the gorgeous spaces that we have. So all of this has been done in collaboration with young people, down to me and Emma. How many worms did we make? So for the opening of the exhibition, me and Emma, along with our young people, made 150 thank you worms to say thank you for everyone that attended, because we thought, you know what, you might forget about a random thank you note, but you're not going to forget when a young person gives you a worm. Next one, please. So, consultations, Emma touched on this briefly, and one of my favourite ones that we've done in youth clubs, so we do this across the whole of the city. So you might see us in Stocksbridge, then you might see us in Westfield, and we'll just be visiting and talking to young people about all the decisions that we make. So we did a sexual health service one, and I spoke with Aaron's young people, and that resulted in us now having a sexual health bus. And that goes around and visits schools and it visits colleges, and it's absolutely amazing. And thanks to some of the young people from Aaron's Youth Club at Westfield, we had a full letter to say, this is what we've done, this is what we're going to do, we've listened to you, we're not just listening and not taking action, but we want you to know exactly how much we care about what you think. And if you've got any more questions or you want to ask anything now, here's our email address. I think that's about it. But if anyone's got anything they'd like to know, please ask. Oh, 3 questions. Okay.
I think we need to take that. Yeah, we need to bring
Do you want to give?
Oh, they've got one there. So.
Oh, bro.
I think the work you're doing is brilliant. Great. Do you ever try to direct kids towards sports or sports clubs?
Yeah, so within South East, I think we've got connections with Sheffield United, and they go out and do really good work. It's Shannon, who's probably one of the most amazing workers that we've got in the South East.
What about local clubs, such as Mosbury Rugby Club?
I think in the past we've had that on board. I know I have.
Yeah, it is a bit of a gap, to be honest. We work primarily, like Sarah was saying, with Sheffield United, Sheffield Wednesday. In the South East, it's mostly Sheffield United. And we have worked with City Trust, which are now everyone active. We work with them as well. But in terms of actual local football clubs, rugby clubs, boxing clubs, yes. Rugby clubs, football clubs, not so much. It's probably something we should look to do.
I was the manager at one of the junior section at Mosborough Rugby Club for 7 years. And to see some of the kids come in as being shy, a little bit cheeky, and once they get to know, it's not just rugby, all sports have got disciplines. Rugby's stricter. And to have them, their character builds in a positive, they learn how to not answer back, because there's only one gaffer on that pitch, and you don't tell them to F off, like you do on football. Yeah. That teaches them things, though. And Mosborough are looking for players, by the way.
Brilliant. Thank you for that, because I completely agree. We find that in all sports with the discipline aspect, so completely agree.
Discipline.
Yeah, thank you for that. I will actually look at them.
I think it's an interesting point what you say about the difference that sport and other activities make in a young person's life as well. And I don't know if the people here tonight will have seen, but we actually run something called the Youth Awards every year. Nominations for that close on Monday next week, but there is still time to nominate any young people aged 11 to 18 or up to 25 if they're a young person that's been through the care system or a young person with special educational needs or disabilities. And there's a whole variety of categories as well, and sport is just one of them. We've got creative arts, there's stuff around social action and things like that as well. So yeah, if you know any young people that are making a difference, or young people that are just supporting themselves and actually being resilient, there's resilience awards and things like that as well.
Yeah, one question and a couple of observations. I'll get the question first. You say that you've done educational or information films for teachers within the Sheffield area. What sort of feedback have you had from the teachers? Was it positive, or did you get some resistance trying to teach them their job?
The information from the young people with special educational needs and disabilities, that's about to be launched because the young people have just finished their films for that project. The other ones around violence against women and girls, we've done some around hate crime, and we've done one around how little things can make a big difference for young people with that are lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, part of that community. And in terms of schools, I think they've been very well received. The schools have used them in their resource toolkit as well when they've been speaking to other young people about it, because it gives them something to add to their armour, and they're things that they can explore with young people as well, especially if they're not that confident around topics and issues. I think some of them, you do get a little bit of scepticism, don't you, depending on what the topic is, because obviously sometimes people don't want to bring up an issue if it's not seen as an issue, do they? So sometimes there is a bit of resistance. But I think in all across the board, schools have been quite supportive with it.
I think as well.
Sorry.
Go on. I think as well that will come through with the podcasting work that Emma's doing with the Youth Cabinet. So those are educational pieces that are meant for teachers as well. So I think once they're released, we'll have some more feedback for you as well.
Okay, a couple of observations. Firstly, you mentioned all these organisations and things that you're involved with. We've got a scout leader behind us. They were not mentioned at all on any of those slides. Do you have contact with them?
Not that I know.
Particularly, no. No, we won't. Sorry. Why not? Not direct, because there's like a very lot of clubs and different. We signpost, so we are aware of provision, what's in the southeast. Like, so for me, for example, what's in the southeast. So I would signpost to them. We've not actually linked with them directly. From the last I knew, they were actually over capacity at the local, one of the scout huts in, I can't remember which one it was, but in the southeast. But no, I'm not linked with them directly, but we do signpost to scouts.
Okay, and finally, you mentioned Sheffield United and Sheffield Wednesday. I previously ran a very good initiative with Sheffield Steelers ice hockey side. That was supposed to run for 2 years. It ran for 6, aimed at young people and healthy lifestyles. You could well benefit from contacting them.
That would be amazing if you've got contacts.
Thank you.
Yeah, my question's for Erin about Handsworth Youth Club.
Yeah.
We've got 4 long-term residents of Handsworth here that didn't know it existed. So we're just wondering now you're advertising that and where it is, because we didn't know about it.
I'm finding that for the Handsworth one. So the Handsworth one is our newest one. It's a Methodist church on Handsworth Road.
Right.
It's on a Monday 6 while 8. However, on reflection, I think we opened it at the wrong time. So I opened it just before the 6-week holidays.
This year?
Yes.
Right.
So it's very, very new.
So that's why we didn't know about it.
Yeah, exactly. But it's still an issue. It's still a barrier for us in terms of advertising our youth clubs. We don't really have a social media platform. We were previously on X, but no longer. So it has been something that's been identified. Our advertising is essentially going to schools and handing flyers out when we do outreach work and attach work. But yeah, that's the main. Every one of our youth clubs in South East at the minute are well attended and thriving. Handsworth, it's not got off the ground yet. It's not that young people have come, had a bad experience and decided to not come. We just haven't had the young people yet.
Yeah, well, that's fantastic because there is nothing for kids to do in Handsworth at all.
And that's why the youth club come.
About time. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, there's 948,000 people, not young people, that's not engaged in education, work or training. Are you making any headway in getting them numbers down in Sheffield?
Yes. So we, as part of Community Youth Services, we have the Information Advice Guidance team. So their bread and butter is not young people, not in education, employment or training. So that's literally what they link with schools, with college providers, training providers, and that is primarily what they do. So, for example, when we come across young people not engaged in school, which does happen a lot, who attend our youth clubs, we do bring our IAG advisors to come in. We do link with them the schools to try and find out what the plan is. Because, yeah, as I don't know if you've heard, but the Sheffield Inclusion Centre was struggling taking young people in because there was an influx. So, yeah, that's the main link for us is our Information Advice Guidance team.
But have you actually got any numbers on what you've achieved?
No, it's a big gap. I don't know about IAG team specifically, but for youth work, it's a massive gap, is demonstrating how many positive outcomes that we achieve, actually how they measure, because a lot of it's long term. But in terms of, we can find them out actually, because we will have access to them. It's just, I don't know.
It's worth actually finding out if what you're doing is really worthwhile.
Yeah, there's different measurement tools for that, which we're always working towards, because it's a national thing of how do you demonstrate the value of youth work. We see it all the time, the soft outcomes, the young people that have travelled, been with us from 11 to 18, the path they looked like they were going, the path that they ended up on, so we know it, but it's not easily translatable to people who don't know about youth work, so that's something that we're constantly trying to learn and better.
Yeah, I see what you're doing, and I think it's a good achievement, but a lot of what you're doing can be diminished in the classroom. What's happening is now they're putting a lot of SEN children into a normal, I don't want to use the word normal, but
mainstream.
You know what I mean, yeah. And I don't think people realise, or especially government education, realise what an effort, what an impact it has, not only on SENs, it's not doing them any favours, and also on on our kids that we're sending that haven't got them issues. It's really, the outcomes are really poor, and it's due to a lot of SENs that's going classrooms.
I think that's why our...
Sarah, you can have this conversation with them outside, because will be a session space after the breakout to do that. Conscious, I think, there may still be another question, because otherwise we'll be...
Hi there. So, we used to have a wealth of youth clubs within this city, which has been diminished now beyond all recognition. I've spent most of my life around boxing clubs, and I must admit, the biggest transformation in children is getting involved in sport, especially boxing. It learns you discipline. It gives you a good grounding, I think. And I think it probably learns you more about life than most things. I think you're really missing a trick if you're not focusing on those areas.
No, we are doing boxing. We've got some boxing schemes coming up, and we work with schools who've got those as well.
Sorry, very briefly. We also, 3 of our youth workers are qualified boxing coaches as well. So what we actually do as part of our delivery, either summer or half term when kids aren't at school, those youth workers, which includes myself, we go around to the different youth clubs and deliver an introduction to boxing session. So basically, young people who maybe wouldn't necessarily have the confidence or to attend a boxing club themselves because they'll feel like they don't have the skills to go in and they'll be embarrassed. We teach them the basically beginning skills so that they feel confident enough to then go to a boxing gym, because at least they've got a grounding. So we do that ourselves, an introduction, teach them the disciplines and that, and then we try and signpost them into the local boxing clubs. Thank you.
Okay, thank you all for that. As I said, after the breakout session, we will have...
Just very quickly, and you've probably considered this, but I know for my kids, one of the big things was Green Top Circus and circus skills, and it's very much what you were saying about this. It looks like chaos, but you've really got to listen and be disciplined, because otherwise you get hurt. So the kids really pick up a lot of, and it links to physical stuff and performance stuff. So I didn't know if there was some sort of developing some sort of partnership there, with a bit like you did Taster for boxing and Taster for circus skills.
Thank you.
Thank you very much for the
Sorry. So I'm just going to ask each group to have a brief feedback, a highlight, because otherwise we might get all the same answers 57 times. All these notes will be written up, and we'll have a look at. They'll be looked at in detail. So don't worry if you think something's been missed. And I'll start it. Yep. Well volunteered, Courtney. You're stood up and ready and fired, so you can go first from your group.
Yeah, because it's in my horrible scribble. So for question 1, which was, what do you think is missing for new parents in your area, and what support and activities is there in the area? We said it would be support groups for family units in general as a whole, so to help learn the basics, feeding, toilet training, division of different workloads between parents as well, in general. And then for question 2, what do you think is missing for young people in your area? Again, more sports education with structure such as boxing and rugby was mentioned. We also said about educational support outside of school, such as learning about maths, or wider skill sets such as learning about finances and understanding finances as well, and better support for teachers to have training and understanding to both support SEND students, to identify and support SEND students, but also mainstream students as well, so their classes can be just more seamless for all students involved. For question 3 was, what issues do you think young people in your area most need support with or are worried about? We discussed how young people might not be... young people are worried about not being equipped to go on to further education or to get jobs. Young people are probably worried about affordable travel and also sixth form provision within the South East area. And finally, for question 4, what are some examples of good activities and support in the South East of Sheffield for young people? And again, sport camps came up, rugby and boxing. Multi-sport camps came up as well. However, the negative for this was these only go up to the age of 13, and they should go up to the ages up to 24 to see that continuation. It was also mentioned that it would be nice to see more drama clubs in the South East as well. But other positives were the good libraries we have in this area, and good retail areas we have in the area as well. But we also need better employability services in this area too.
Thank you, Courtney. I'll ask Tony to go next. You don't need to repeat the questions, just the highlights.
Right, okay. So, question. What? Oh, sorry. Question 1. Sports events. Shall I read the question first? No. People got it. Sports events, advertising, parenting classes and guidance, cost of living, advice and support, generally nursery in early years and childcare. Question 2, we talked about.
Can we have the question?
Yes, I thought that. Yeah, I thought that would be easier, but yeah, right. So I'll start with question 2 because we're short of time. All right. Question 2: what do you think is missing for young people in your area? And we got missing youth activities, reap what we sow, life skills, signposting, youth shelters, army, ATC, training, boxing and crafts. Question 3: what issues do you think young people in your area most need support with or are worried about? And we've got family conflicts, status, drugs, peer pressure, future work, cyberbullying, higher and further education. And then on question 4, we talked about what are some good examples of activity support in the southeast of Sheffield for young people. And we came up with partner organisation, mini police, fire cadets, scouts, work experience, youth clubs, community centres, apprenticeships, after-school clubs, work experience, including Saturday jobs. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, and thank you for doing the notes on this. I can actually read the handwriting, so good work. So question 1 was about what do you think is missing for new parents in the area. There was a lot of talk about lack of green space and parks. Where do you go if you want to go for a walk with your new baby in a pram? There isn't really many places to go for a nice walk in a park in the southeast. We want less urban sprawl, more clean air. There was also concerns around policing and just feeling safe going out and about as well.
Sorry, did you say less urban sprawl?
But we want less urban sprawl, yeah.
Why somebody on green space then?
Well, quite.
Sorry, you're asking a councillor who voted against that?
Yeah, so. But we can have a discussion after if you want about it. Question 2, what do you think is missing for young people in the area? Established youth clubs, libraries, clinics. What else am I missing? Safe public transport as well, because it's okay having something in one community, but you can't really get between communities. You have to go into town and back out again. Question 3 was, what issues do you think young people in your area need most support with or are worried about? So again, lots of green spaces. We had quite a few people come up to us at Bait and Gala actually, who were young, wanting to know about our views on that. Wildlife, climate change, overpopulation, too much, what's that saying? Okay, I can't read some of it, sorry. Loss of infrastructure as well, so in the southeast we've lost the locals, the Peaks campus. Peer pressure came up for us as well, and social media. And then finally, what are some good examples of activities or support in the southeast? Well, unfortunately, we couldn't really find any, yeah. So us councillors tried to stay out of it because obviously we get emails about things, but I think there is clearly a lack of information for, well, normal people. So that's definitely something to improve on. Yeah, that was us.
Please.
Yes, thank you. Right. Question 1, what do you think is missing for new parents in your area? Well, we thought that Louise's presentation was brilliant, and there is so much going on, but it needs more advertising. People need to know where to find it so they can get all the information. So better signposting, because once people get to see that, they know what's happening. But the one thing that we did think was missing was a prenatal dad's group. so that young men that are coming to be fathers for the first time might get a bit of help before baby arrives. So we didn't see that on there. And what do you think is missing? Question 2, what do you think is missing for young people in your area? Advertising all these things that are going on. Where do people go? Transport, more funding to help young people. Venues for free activities. Volunteers, because lots of things would take place if we had more volunteers. Youth club I work with, we really struggle getting volunteers. Engagement areas, and somewhere safe to hang out. Sometimes you don't just want an organised activity, you want to be able to go perhaps a youth cafe or somewhere like that, where you can just go in and out when you like and meet other people. It doesn't have to be organised. What issues do you think young people in your area most need support with? We think knife crime, vaping, again peer pressure, bullying, especially online, and body shaming. We think those are the things that came up. And what are good examples in this area is the holiday club for the Westfield when schools are closed, Handsworth Football Club and all the sports clubs that are taking place, libraries, and of course there's a lack of organised stewardship scheme which helps needs getting to work with Endeavour and Harvey's Hub. That's me.
Oh, sorry. This lady here, right? Yeah. Get a mic. Get a mic. He's got the mic.
You got it.
You can help me. Yeah, you can hold it. I've got the question, sorry, but I think it's the first one. What's missing from Baton and other areas? So Baton, we need more toddler groups. We have got 2 really good ones, 2 or 3 here alone, and elsewhere in Baton, but there's long lists for them and we need more. We're just a bit overwhelmed, long waiting lists. We need a maternity session as well, weighing babies and things. Hackenthorpe and Freshfield have put free activities for families, rainy day activities. We just come up with the question as well, what's happened to the HAF? So I don't know what organisation is responsible for that, but that seems to have died a death. Somebody wrote joined up services, and I'm not quite sure what they meant by that. I think I missed that bit. And what was good, make friends, get support.
And lifetime
relationships
that they make at the baby groups.
For a lot of things, we need more advertising everywhere. We ourselves here at the Lifestyle Centre, we try and advertise the best that we can, but we still get people that we miss.
So that's number 2, which is what you think is missing from young people in the area.
Again, more advertising needed, what's available. So we'd put a skateboard park, mountain bike track, safe, is that well lit and visible? Yeah, safe, well lit and visible, football and rugby on, something, can't read it, sorry, on mobile phones, that?
I don't know. I can't read that writing.
That one next. So this is question 3.
What do you think young people in the area most need support with or are worried about?
We've got social media, safety, knives, drugs, judgment from others.
Number 4, what are some good examples of activities support in the South East area for young people?
We have noodles that operate in this area, here and elsewhere, and then there's other dance groups as well, but they're all what you have to pay for. They used to do some sessions that were free, so that's good when it's free. We have martial arts here, and it all comes down to money.
Alison, are you reporting back on you? Okay. Who's reporting? Oh.
Just like to say, following those presentations, something that was... Something that was missing, obviously, within South East Sheffield. All you councillors represent South East Sheffield, and we're talking about services for young people. There's not one single school in South East Sheffield that offers a 6th form service, and the college has closed down as well. All you councillors representing South East Sheffield should be ashamed of yourself. The only organisation that offered sixth form services was over the border at Mount St Mary's College, which is now disgracefully shut down because of VAT on school fees. You should be ashamed of yourself that there's no provision of sixth form services in South East Sheffield. Why is that?
All the councillors in South East Sheffield have protested about this. We've had umpteen meetings with the Education Department about it. One of the problems is because Sheffield City Council doesn't control the schools in this area, because most of them are operated by other organisations, and they choose not to provide a sixth form. We've all protested about the closure of Crystal Peaks, and we can. Well, there were 6 votes on. In fact, there were 12 votes in the South East. There are 84 councillors.
But the thing is, though, if you've sort of like given school, I don't want that. If you've given schools to sort of like Corners Trust and all the rest of it, is that not your fault? Because you don't want to run the school.
That was decided. That was decided many years ago. I don't think any of us were on the council then when that was decided. Okay.
And the most basic services around at all is sixth form education, and you don't provide it in South East Sheffield. And you're here, your councillors, to represent South East Sheffield.
And we are making that point. Sorry, I'm not going to allow you to continue to make a speech. We have fought this battle very hard. Councillor Downey.
Yeah. Some years ago, in Sheffield, and long before I was a councillor, and long before some of these other people were councillors, the college was formed, what they call tertiary colleges, which did away with all sixth form provision, right? I mean, that's been going on for a long time now. But we did protest very vociferously, as the chairman has said, about, we need a sixth form provision in this area. It's very important, but of course a lot of things now are academies, which academisation wasn't a decision taken by the council, it was a decision made by government that we had to have academisation in.
Well, let me just say, every school in South West Sheffield and West Sheffield had sixth form, so why can't that happen in South East Sheffield?
That's what we've been asking for. Is that right, Chair? Yeah. Yes. We've been calling for that.
Okay. Well, I myself lived in Woodhouse, and in 1959 I had to go all the way to King Egbert's to school. I had to go on 4 buses a day because there wasn't a sixth form education in South East. There's still no sixth form education in South East.
There was one
I
at
banged
City
my
Grammar.
head about it.
There was one on City School when it was City Grammar and then City School, because I went to the sixth form
Yeah,
there.
but that was after then. It was at City Grammar, was in town initially. I know. We tried hard, we've done our best, we've tried hard, we've been to see people, we've been to the council, and they don't want to know. And all our children go out of Sheffield, we keep saying, the children go out of Sheffield from age 11 if they think they're going to want sixth form education.
So
and no matter what we say, the things haven't changed. Eh?
Whose decision was it to shut the new college?
That was shut down by the college itself.
Excuse me, so I just, at this point in time, obviously, it's not really conducive to have a backwards and forwards, so we have got an item for public questions which needs to be done respectfully and in one way, so can we ask that we pick that up under the final item, please, for people who've got public questions, if we ask if we put it on the question item 9, please, and then the check. I'm not saying it's not relevant, but what I'm asking now is, obviously, through the nature of the business, we can pick some of this for public questions rather than the backwards and forwards. So if people have got questions, that's the opportunity where we can ask those questions. Okay. Well, no. The purpose of the exercise was to gather feedback from people, which we managed to do. So we're going to take that feedback. Like we said, we've heard the comments that he said, and as the council mentioned previously, there's been an ongoing discussion around that. So that will be something we can take away and we can feedback at a future meeting. But right now, what we need to do is work through. This is a formal business meeting, so we need to go through that aspect of it now. So this backwards and forwards at this point in time isn't really helpful for us to try and progress the meeting. That's what we're asking. That's what we're asking, please, sir. Okay.
It's not in the meeting, we've not really discussed it. We've just had a presentation on... So I'm asking... okay, so what I'm asking at this point in time... No, so what I'm asking at this point in time is that we stop this backwards and forwards, because it's not really conducive, like discussion point. So, at this point, under item 9... under item 9... Just put 1 second. Under item 9, if you have any questions to ask, we will take them and we'll make sure they were dealt with in the appropriate way.
So we'll assume this at item 9?
Yes. And what I'd say is that we don't want we need to be able to allow to answer the questions if we're able to or not. So the councillors will answer the questions that they're able to, but it's not conducive to have a backwards and forwards. That's all I'm saying. So if we're going to have a productive meeting, we need to be able to do it in the right way.
Okay, thank you all for taking part in this. And then, yes, quickly, sir.
We voted here to have a committee system in Sheffield. You are our committee. What is other councillors to do with us? Why can't you make the decisions?
The local area committee does not have control of...
Or not acting as a... What I mean by that is we put a vote to have a committee. You're our committee. So shouldn't you be able to say to Sheffield Council, sorry, go away, planning department, because we asked you what we want, and I know you tried hard for us, but then we just overruled you.
Because that's we have set powers for local area committees. Education is not one of them. We can make our view known, and that's what we do. You're quite right. I mean, I'm going to move on because we need to get on to formal business. You know. Yes, I'm quite happy to answer it. Yes, I'm quite happy to answer the question. I've no problem with that. I used to be a chair of governors, so I have a long interest in education. Thank you. Right, Carl, the budget.
Thank you. So, item 8 on the agenda is the update from the local area committee manager, Jane Folger. Unfortunately, was not able to attend today, so I'm covering this item on her behalf. So, the purpose of this report is twofold. So, just as a reminder, that each local area committee is allocated £100,000 for the financial year 2025-26, and that's to address issues of local priorities. So, this report sets out the spending decisions that have already been made by the community services manager, and that was done in consultation with the chair of the South East Local Area Committee, and it also put forward a recommendation that grant funding be awarded for the employment of a community development worker to support the community plan priority themes across all 4 wards in the South East LAC area. So just to go through what the expenditure has been to date so far for this year. So under the theme crime and community safety, where we've allocated £50,000, so far £3,000 has been spent on crime prevention material, £8,500 has been spent on a mobile CCTV camera. We've spent £330 on community speed watch scheme and £1,400 on a good and bad parking scheme. Under the environmental theme, where we've allocated £17,000, so far £2,000 has been spent on a local environmental grant to the local groups, and £5,000 to work with schools' well and wild projects. The final item of health and wellbeing for children and families, which has £30,000. So far we've spent £4,574 supporting local community events through the VE Day. £840 to fund additional DFID pads for DFIDs across the South East, and £5,000 on Your Voice, Your Place digital projects for needs. So that's what's been spent so far. So anything under £10,000, the manager can do that in consultation with the chair. Anything over £10,000 needs to come for a decision for the committee, and that's what the next item will be. Okay. So we've received a proposal to the local area community to provide grant funding for the employment of a community development worker for the South East. So the worker would be employed by the voluntary sector, Woodhouse Forum, and they would deliver community development work supporting local community and voluntary groups across the South East, building on the work already carried out during this year, so 24-25, and using grant funding which was previously agreed by the local area committee for South East in December 2024. And if you've got the paper, there was an appendix attached which gives more details around that. So, for the members of the committee, so the 6 councillors currently here today, they're asked to consider the proposal and agree to award a grant of £27,000 to fund the employment of a community development worker. The proposal identified that it will support the community plan themes of health and wellbeing and children and families,
but the work will in fact be cross-cutting across all priority themes, so it's recommended that the project is funded with £17,000 from the crime and community safety theme and £10,000 from the health and wellbeing for children. So, up to date, that would, if this proposal is agreed, that would be the expenditure of £31,073, as reported in paragraph 1.2, and that would lead to a total allocated spend of £58,073 and leave a balance of £41,927. So, for the members of the committee, we're asked to note the previous spend and asked to confirm whether they agree to the allocation for the community development worker.
Yeah. Yeah. No questions? Okay, that is agreed. Yeah. Thank you.
So that's the end of the
formal business. That's the end of formal business. So now we come to public questions. We didn't have any questions submitted in advance, so we'll take questions. If we can't answer, all of your questions will be recorded. If we can't answer them now, you will get an answer. In order to do that, we need to know who you are and where you're from. Who's that?
Okay. Can you just wait for the mic?
Thank you. My name's Craig Myers. I'm a resident in South East Sheffield, in Bayton. I live adjacent to Mosborough, and I'd like to ask the Mosborough councillors in particular. Councillor Downing, you and I had an exchange of emails earlier this week with regards to the proposals in North East Derbyshire to build on the Greenfield adjacent to Mosborough. I asked you what consultation had taken place and what you were doing to actually fight these proposals. Now, you sent me a letter, thank you very much for that, which was signed by yourself and the MP Clive Betts. You've wrote your objections to North East Derbyshire District Council, and I welcome that. I appreciate your efforts there, and I'm glad you've seen the light. However, Councillor Downing, it's a bit hypocritical, don't you think, to object on North East Derbyshire Council for building on the Greenbelt when you're proposing to do that on a mass scale in South East Sheffield? Are you now going to support not building on Greenbelt in South East Sheffield?
No. For years and years now, we've been wanting to get a local plan in place, right? The local plan will then direct developers as to where and when, or where, more specifically, where they can build and where they can't build. Now, unfortunately, there isn't enough land to accommodate all the properties that we need to build. So we're trying to reduce the amount of land being on the Greenbelt as much as we can. Unfortunately, there is some, which you've just mentioned, that is on the Greenbelt.
Extensively?
Yeah. So
nearly all within South East Sheffield as well.
What I voted for when I voted in the council was not to build on Greenbelt. I voted for the local plan because we need a local plan. Other people decided not to vote for the local plan. So what happens if you don't get a local plan is then you will get urban sprawl. You'll get it built everywhere. At least we have got a bit of control of where we can build properties now.
So I'll come back to the key points in my question then. You object to North East Derbyshire District Council building on Greenbelt, but you're proposing to do just that.
I objected to it on the grounds that it wasn't the right place to have the site what was proposed there because of the narrowness of the road, right, and the difficulty it would be to get things on there. That's one of the reasons I voted. I voted against that. That's all.
Well, I think perhaps the residents of Mosborough will make their own mind up on that.
Well,
thank you.
They have the opportunity in May, don't they? Okay.
Thank you. I have two questions. One was really quick. Carl, where can I find out about where you can obtain like these grants for funding and what the criteria are?
Okay, so yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, we'll
Sorry,
get the details. Just for the mic, yeah. If you contact the South East Local Area Committee team, we can make sure you're linked and you can access that information.
Okay, thank you. And my second question is for the Woodhouse councillors, but unfortunately there's only Councillor Norris here, so it's going to be directed at her. As we just talked about, building on Greenbelt is a very sensitive issue, and one of the sites that I'm involved with is the Bramley Beaver site in Handsworth. Currently there's really large roadworks on Beaver Hill Road that are going off by a company, Caden, who are upgrading the gas main or changing the gas main. And we have contacts within Caden that say that they are changing that gas main in preparation for housing to be built. Now, it doesn't look very good when the plan hasn't even been agreed or passed by the council or even inspected. So my request to you is, please can you find out what is happening on Beaverhill Road with respect to that gas main, because the local community are very sensitive to that, and any preparation for housing that hasn't yet been agreed isn't going to look very good.
Yes, certainly I can find out about that, and I will and get back to you. But I would like to say that the local plan process is a national process, and all of us that have submitted objections are part of that, and will be presenting to the planning inspector. And the planning inspector there's a legal process to follow that they must follow to agree the plan. And there can't, things like putting in infrastructure ahead of anything being agreed that's not a legal thing to do. So it definitely needs checking.
Yeah, thank you, because we have information that they are preparing for houses when nothing's yet been agreed, and it looks very bad on the council that they're thinking that this is a done deal when it perhaps isn't. Thank you.
Right, thank you. I'm Ian. I live quite locally on Ringwood Road. Can I refer to the minutes of the last meeting, because I've got a question about an item on it. It's on page 11, item 11.21, the third paragraph. It states that Michael Johnson explained that it was elected members who rejected the sites on the southwest of the city. Now, obviously, under the Freedom of Information Act, you really should be saying which members did object to it, because that just, as it stands, means nothing. It just means that it sounds like people from that area of the southwest have voted themselves out of a tight corner and shovel it all on the southeast. So is it possible to find out who these elected members were that actually voted against it?
No, because it was the plan was talked about between the parties. Two of the parties agreed to the plan, one didn't. It's a matter of record. Which councillors voted against the plan? Councillor Downing's made his point.
So are these records public domain?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
You can see who voted against the plan. I voted against the plan.
Yeah, I appreciate
because I
that.
objected to the...
Okay, thank you.
But I'm a South East councillor because I objected to the development, as I did indeed in the case of Eckington Way, which is still ongoing. Just to say to everybody again, I think I made this point at the last meeting, this now is in the hands of government inspectors. I hope that those of you who got objections have made your objections to the inspectors, because they may well listen. And the important thing now is to get the inspectors' report, because the inspectors have the power to reject things. When it comes back to the council, it's too late. So it really is in the hands of the inspectors, and I hope that hearings are going on at the moment, because not only do we have this issue here, my colleagues in the north have the same problem, because there's a massive development across the north of the city, and those hearings are happening right now. So I do urge people, I do hope that people who have objected to the inspectors and put their case at the hearings, as Councillor Crosthorne, or Councillor Crossland as it was then, and I did, along with the MP and various local residents, about Eckington Way. And I thought we got a good hearing from the inspectors, and I hope that they will throw that out. But
Okay,
it is with
thank
the
you.
inspectors.
The second question. I read yesterday an article that announced that Sheffield Council, after consultation and negotiation with the GMB Union, Unison and Unite, have allocated £36 million to give to 5,200 workforce, council workers and school staff. Apparently it's something about equal payments, right? Now, they also said, that figure, by the way, on the Sheffield Forum today was increased to 51 million from 36 million previously stated. Now, it's also said it wasn't going to be funded by cuts to services or making the city bankrupt as Birmingham did, because it was going to be funded from reserve funding. Now, if Sheffield Council has got so much money in reserve, why did he find it necessary to increase council tax?
The answer, well, actually, I think I'm right in saying that all councillors are getting a briefing on this settlement, I think, in the next couple of days. So I can't answer the question, because we haven't yet, we know no more than the public, because we are we are scheduled to get a briefing, because there is a historic issue about underpayment, and that's been resolved. But I know no more about it than you all do at this minute.
I'm just a bit worried that Sheffield Council can suddenly find 36 million or even 51 million when they're constantly bleating out that they've got no funds.
All councils should prudently keep a large reserve. If you think about how big Sheffield Council's budget is, it needs to keep a reserve, because otherwise it will get itself in the problems like Birmingham has had. But I can't answer your question in detail because we've not yet had the briefing, so I know no more than you do, is the honest answer.
Okay, thank you.
I think approximately, let's say 2 years ago, there was a proposal to have a fairground people or travellers camp next to Aldgate on, is it Eckington Way? That was a proposal. Can we have latest on that issue?
Yes. As I said, myself, the local MP, local residents, Councillor Crossthorne, made representations to the inspectors, which was now nearly a year ago. The inquiry was then paused because this issue that we've now had about extra housing is because the inspectors have written to the council, whatever different views we have about where housing should go, demanding extra housing, which is what's brought to this current round of fracas. So that's been paused. I am aware, because my colleague in the north has told me this, that the inspectors have now asked the council for evidence on a site that is available in the north of the city, which everybody is happy with. The developer is happy to provide. So I hope, and I'm not reading too, you have to be optimistic a bit, otherwise you never get up in the morning. But I do hope that might mean that we're not going to have Eckington Way, but we'll continue to fight that. But to be fair, whatever the differences I have, and I absolutely made the point to the inspectors in the inquiry that Clive Betts and I don't send each other's Christmas cards, and the inspectors should have due weight to the fact that people who are so bitterly opposed to each other could come together to make the case. And I hope that also went through, and the thousands of people, not only vote for me, but my opponent, who also said they were against.
Right, can I just say that at that meeting there was a show of hands, and virtually nobody wanted that.
Absolutely.
So, but a lot of people felt that you guys who was there, you just didn't listen to us. Well, and the chairman of the Showman's Guild contacted a past councillor and said the site is unsuitable.
Indeed, and I can also say that there was a King's Council present who was working on a pro bono basis, who actually, in my view, took the officers apart on the siting of the Showman's, because they're now saying it's going to be a Showman's site, by the way. Council's moved all over the place on this.
Yeah.
He did point out that the part of the site that they've allocated for this is in fact on a slope.
Yeah,
anybody who knows how high Showman's vehicles are, well, the reason that the Showman's would use that site, they don't actually want it, by the way, but if they were given it, is to service vehicles. And who on earth is going to jack up a roundabout when it's folded up to try and change a wheel or whatever on a slope? So that's how ridiculous it had become. I can also say to you that the planning inspector did say to the council, because they'd done a traffic survey, they'd failed to do one on a Saturday. And the planning inspector said with a degree of surprise in their voice, "You mean you're telling me you didn't do a traffic survey next to a shopping centre on a Saturday?" So, I'm optimistic that we can win this, but we are continuing to do so. I think the inspectors gave us a fair hearing. That's not to say they will, but given what my colleague in the north told me, I think we have...
Can you take into consideration that the residents do not want it?
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. We said that, and I think everybody said that. I say, people who have other political disagreements actually are united on this. I sat near to Clive Betts. That's not a pleasure that I enjoy, but we were on the same side on that occasion.
Good positive answer then. Thank you.
Right.
Hello there. My complaint is again on housing. Karen knows quite a lot. I've had a lot of emails to her to and fro. This was about building in Althorpe on Plot C. What happened is I wrote to the Housing Minister and the Environment Ministry before the Planning Inspector got involved. Now, the thing is, I asked for it to be called in, which is a legal thing from the government, and it has to take precedent. The Planning Inspector came along, I told him about it, and he said, his answer was, with a piece of paper that says he's been appointed by the Secretary of State, he said, talking to the Secretary of State is above my status. And so he carried on with his complete plan. Within the plan, I still kicked off, and what happened, it was done on Zoom. In the end, he had to get Sheffield City Council barrister, which is Guy Williams, to get in touch with the council to give me the full video because it had been taken down. Before this meeting, by law, it should have been left up. Nobody else looked at this situation, and I took my thing up and I prosecuted the planning inspector, and not legally, but verbally. I made formal complaints about him, and then after I got no satisfaction, I went to the Parliamentary Ombudsman. The Parliamentary Ombudsman says, yes, your complaint is valid and we will look into it, but it has to be brought by your MP, which is Mr. Clive Betts. I've asked him loads of times, I've asked Karen to bring him to the meetings. Now you're Ian Homer, can you get Clive Betts to come and have a word with me? Because I'm still pursuing it, it is going to the government, and the problem is Sheffield City Council, councillors on a meeting, broke the law, and I want them prosecuted.
I just wanted to clarify, Michael, me and you haven't had any communication for 18 months now. It was when I was chair. I haven't been chair for 18 months. So I don't want people to think that I've not been helping you before, but I'm not chair anymore. So I just wanted to make that clear. Yeah, I helped you while I was chair, and then you
didn't help me one little bit. We had some good arguments.
I replied to all your emails.
And yes, I've got them, and I also rebuffed them, and you never answered me again while you were chair.
Okay.
You know very well.
Okay, I think we won't. Sorry, I'm going to move on. I hear what you're saying. I mean, my ability to influence Clive Betts is very debatable. One person at the back, and then we are in fact at the scheduled end, or beyond the scheduled end of the meeting.
Don't you think this issue over building extra houses could be a bit of a waste of time in view of the fact that Nigel Farage is going to hopefully deport a lot of people that's got the right to remain, and these, if he's going to do it in numbers that he's saying he is, we won't need all these extra houses. So that's perhaps an argument you could use for the inspector.
That's not an argument an inspector would hear. It's not within their remit. At the end of the meeting, we'll briefly revisit this question.
Okay, so can we get a microphone up? Just webcast won't pick you up if you don't get a microphone to you.
Okay, here we are then for public questions. So, you're all councillors there representing South East Sheffield. We haven't got a single sixth form provision within South East Sheffield. Do you think you're doing a good job?
We have raised this point umpteen times. Let me say to you, I'm originally from the city of Bradford. I was a chair of governors in the city that invented state education. This problem started when somebody introduced something called grant maintained status, which took schools out of local authority control. Most of the schools in this area are not actually within the control of the local authority, and it's up to them whether they provide a sixth form. The council can't make them do it. Now, that's the problem of the people then, and I fought this battle. I fought this battle at national level. In fact, I appeared on Newsnight. I was interviewed by Jeremy Paxman about grant-maintained status and other things, so I spent an awful lot of time fighting this issue, but people don't seem to realise Sheffield City Council does not control the vast majority of schools in this city.
What I would say, South West Sheffield, West Sheffield, they've all got sixth forms.
Yes, and they've all got big, prosperous schools which have chosen to do that. And that's what happens when you take schools out of local authority control.
Rumours going around about digital ID that Starmer is going to bring in. Your thoughts, please. Is it?
I'm sure it's
what
a...
it's using
It's a,
the boat people coming in as an excuse to make sure that every single person in this room has got a digital ID. So you're taking away our freedom.
sorry,
I'm sure it's just a rumour, that. I really am.
Look,
Yeah.
sorry, whether or not it's a rumour, it's a national question. I'll very quickly say this. ID cards were abolished because a member of the National Liberal Club was challenged by a police officer to produce their ID, and they refused. And that's when ID cards were removed in the 1950s. So speaking as a Liberal Democrat, it's in our DNA to oppose it if it happens. But I've no idea if it's going to happen, but it is a national question, not one for this body. Yes, Councillor Norris.
I just wanted to go back to what you were saying about sixth form. It's not something we've given up on. And talking to, last time we talked about it, we talked to Sheffield College about their requirements, the number of students, the type of courses people need, all of that provision it's a shifting landscape. But we haven't given up and we are still trying.
Well, I mean, the only thing I said, quality, no provision except in Sheffield.
It's not exactly.
You go across the city and every single school's got it. You know, that's not quality to me. That's a massive disparity.
Okay, I understand your point. Thank you. This evening, that concludes the formal business today. And all the notes we've got will be written up. Full records being kept, and we'll look at all the suggestions that have been made. Thank you.